2020 is the season for Villanova baseball, and we're here to preview the season. I'm Nick Montagna, and we're joined by head coach Kevin Mulvey, the former Villanova pitcher himself. Okay, Coach, what really stands out for me, Kevin, is the group of talented pitchers that you've assembled with your staff over the last few years. Jimmy Kingsbury's such a great pitcher, and Gordon Graceffo really came into his own as a freshman. How great is it knowing you have such reliable arms on this staff?
It's a coach's dream to have two guys like that. You know, last year, Jimmy Kingsbury, he pitched in every single role imaginable. He may have pitched in every single one of our wins last year, if that's possible. What he did for us, you know, it might not get talked about that often because of the lack of wins, but what he did, that is putting the team first. You know, he pitched on short rest, he pitched on long rest, he pitched on no rest. He took the ball whenever we gave it to him. And, you know, it's something that his teammates, you know, rallied behind. They'll never forget it. It's definitely something I'll never forget. And Gordon Graceffo has worked his tail off, and I expect he'll have a great season because of it.
Nick LaRusso had a standout freshman season in 2019. He won Big East Freshman of the Year. Lots of two-way guys nowadays that can pitch and can hit. He really did it all last year. Describe to the fans in the Nova Nation what kind of player he is. We all got to see it last year. He's a really special kid who does just about everything for you.
Yeah, no, he is a special kid. He's a special talent. His ability to find the barrel, I would put up there with, you know, any hitter that has ever played here at Villanova. But he did a lot for us. His ability last year mentally, you know, to go through his first season as, you know, the guy for us last year and not have peaks and valleys and stay consistent in his approach and his swing while also doing it on the mound for us was very, very impressive.
Lots of experience in this lineup, whether it's a guy like Tim Lilly and a lot of experience last year with Dylan McNary as a freshman and Ryan Torres and Tyler Bruno. What will it take for this group to get it done, hitting the ball and coming together and getting this team where it needs to be?
Weather in the storm. You know, Villanova or baseball is a game of failure. So being able to weather the storm, not getting too down when things are tough, you know, after a loss or two, staying up, staying positive, trusting in yourself and trusting in the team. I think that if they can do that, I think this group is capable of winning a lot of games and eventually attaining what the main goal is this year, to make the Big East playoffs.
Knowing that you play in such a pitcher's park, you've recruited lots of good arms, as we've talked about. Talk about the identity of a team. Do you want it to be pitching? Do you want it to be balanced? Do you want guys that can run, make contact? What does a Villanova baseball team need to be going forward to be successful?
Well, you certainly want balance, right? You need to score runs in order to win the game. But, you know, as you said, the ballpark plays a role in that. You know, the Northeast climate plays a role in that. The bats nowadays, because we went through the bat change, they're not as poppy as they used to be. So, I mean, the game has evolved a little bit more towards, you know, pitching, and that's the game of baseball for 1,000 years, right? You can never have enough pitching. So we're excited about, you know, the arms that we have and the depth that we have, but, you know, we need those guys to, one, stay healthy, and we need them to perform.
Thanks, Coach, for joining us.
Thank you.
That's Kevin Mulvey. I'm Nick Montagna here for 2020 to talk Villanova baseball. Ryan Torres, the senior first baseman from New Jersey, joins us for our Villanova 2020 baseball preview. Nick Montagna joining you. And Ryan, thanks for being here. Baseball through the years is one of those sports you have to really work at. And it's like that in all sports, as we all know. But so many people have played this game. It's a game of failure. Sometimes you only have a limited amount of chances. Explain to people what playing this great game is like and the adjustments that you have to make on a day-in and day-out basis.
Thank you for having me. Baseball, it's tough. First off, just because of how long it is. Unlike a lot of other sports, it's 50 games, play 3 games on a weekend. So dealing with that, balancing everything else, being a college student along with that, it's tough. So it requires a lot of work. And then terms of the game, I mean, it's a lot of failure that comes with it. So it's tough to stay the course, but that's what it basically is. It's just trying to stay as level-headed throughout the whole process and maintain all that.
Move on to the next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, there's a lot of familiar faces back for this season, more of a veteran group than we've seen in recent years. How much will that help, and what do you think the expectations are like for the team for this season?
I would say that expectations are very high. There's a lot of returners who have established themselves, but more than anything else, there's a lot of young guys who can contribute, and I'm excited to see how they come in and how the older guys kind of help them adjust to the college game so they can contribute and help us win games.
As I've always said, you can always get better at your craft every year, no matter what you're doing. What have you worked on personally to improve your game and take it to the next level?
The biggest thing is being more consistent. Struggled a little last year in different facets, but definitely working on two-strike approach and things of that nature. But the biggest thing is just being consistent and being able to contribute on a day in, day out basis in any way.
Just from a leadership perspective, you've been around, you've been playing a lot of games through the years. Coach Mulvey and his staff, they put in the culture. Do you feel like this team is ready to go? What will be the key for this season to get over the top, essentially?
The culture is definitely changing, and a lot for the better. Compared to years past, there's a lot more guys who are working a lot harder. And I think the biggest thing, as I said earlier, is how these young guys are able to contribute. We have the guys who are more mature, who've done it before, and it's bringing these guys on and catching them up to speed because they are talented and they're able to contribute as well.
Ryan, the biggest part of baseball nowadays is that ongoing battle of the old school, I'm going to use my eyes to watch and see what's going on and read the game, and the new school analytical of looking at numbers. Obviously, a balance of both is ideal. How do you see it in terms of the game now, where baseball is headed, and where you see it can help each individual player in terms of the balance of reading the pitcher versus looking at a scouting chart, let's say?
Personally, I try not to see it as a old school, new school thing. I try to see these new metrics and these new technologies kind of as a tool. They help you identify problems or pick up on new things, but it's all in context. So that old school per se thoughts, they need to be applied. The new technology needs to be applied with that knowledge and that understanding for it to be effective. And I think we do a really good job of that here.
Ryan, thanks for joining us. We're looking forward to a great season.
Thank you.
That's Ryan Torres, the first baseman. Nick Montagna, as Villanova baseball gets set for 2020. Villanova baseball in 2020 getting set for the start of the season. Nick Montagna here, joined by lefty reliever Mike Schwartz. Mike, thanks for hanging out with us today. And tell us what your preseason has been like so far and what you've looked to do to try and improve your game for this season.
Coming from, after last season, it was a big deal for me to get back in the weight room over the summer during summer ball, get stronger, be able to hopefully get out of the relieving role, get in the starting rotation. But coming back in fall ball, it's definitely been more of a reliever role for me. And getting back in the weight room with my teammates, it's been great so far. Fall ball went really well, and the preseason so far is going well as a team.
You mentioned it, being a reliever. It's a little different than being a starter, and some guys can do both. Let's talk relievers first. What's it like being a guy who comes out of the bullpen? I don't think some people realize what it's like to get up, to stay loose, to stay warm, and then to shut you down. Boy, we need you to come in suddenly. So what's that back and forth like, especially for yourself in terms of getting yourself ready when they need you to come into a game?
As a reliever, the main thing is being able to get ready to hurry, especially with the cold weather that we have here. It's not that easy to get hot quickly. But being able to move through, like in the bullpen, just stay warm in between innings, just keep throwing, stay loose. It was an adjustment for me last year, especially being expected to pitch multiple days in a row, which was an adjustment. But I love being out there. I would do anything I can to be out there. So anything to stay hot, stay loose, and stay healthy during the season is definitely vital.
And having a lefty is key, and they're so valuable, as I'm sure you know. Left-handed pitchers are quite the commodity in baseball. They have, obviously, a lefty-lefty matchup is the obvious one. Talk about the idea of being a lefty and when you have to get lefties out. It's so instrumental, isn't it, as a part of the game?
Yeah, obviously as a left-handed reliever, your main job is to get the lefty power hitters out. And I've kind of tried to buy into that role of being able to throw to both sides of the plate, being able to use a breaking ball against a lefty, even use a changeup against a lefty, basically doing anything to get them out.
How do you develop your pitches each preseason? Is it something you have to restart? Do you carry it over from fall ball? Obviously, you've been doing this a long time, but what's the key to maintaining your best pitches?
For me, last summer was vital in developing an off-speed pitch, either a curveball or a slider. So my main thing during summer ball was to try and get ahead early in counts and then utilize the off-speed pitch later in counts, but also being able to get ahead with the off-speed pitch. So I feel like it's not something you start over every season. It's something you make adjustments to season to season.
Mike, Kevin Mulvey pitched at Villanova. He pitched in the big leagues in Major League Baseball. He's now the manager. He's at his alma mater. How valuable is it having such a valuable teacher and a guy who's been pitching a long time and knows how to work with pitchers?
Oh, it's tremendous, especially having the guy who went here, knowing the experiences that Villanova offers, like how good academically it is. He knows the rigor of the academics, and obviously being at a big-name school, he knows how to deal with that. But him pitching the major leagues, playing at the highest level possible, can only benefit the players. He knows what it takes to get to the highest level. He put in the work for many years, so having him on our side is definitely tremendous.
Mike, a lot of experience back in terms of everyday players and tons of starting pitching. What are your expectations for this season, and how excited are you for 2020?
Oh, our goal is Big East tournament. As Coach made it very clear, we have the talent this year, we have the experience to do it, and we don't expect anything less.
That's Mike Schwartz, Nick Montagna, Villanova Baseball, getting ready for 2020 this season.